these ones. No. Oh, that's the one.
Hello, sports fans! Welcome back. My name is Nate Miller, and this is Givin Takes, the online sports show where every week I sit down with you lovely sports fans and we talk about sports. I said last week we'd have some set changes and set additions, and we do. We got Sidney Crosby. Oh, no, I'm pointing over the wrong shoulder all the time. We got 87 Sidney Crosby up here now because the Penguins are in the playoffs, even though they're currently down 2-0 in game 2, so it's looking like they're going to lose both games at home to the Flyers. It's a rough spot, but you know what? We can bounce back. I feel like I've lost some faith, but I haven't lost all my faith. And also, I got a Casey Hampton signed football right there. Got that from a relative for Easter. That was pretty cool. Thank you, Brent and Megan, for that. Great addition to the set. Love a good Pittsburgh icon, especially whenever he's autographed on a football. Great piece of memorabilia. Super happy to add it to the set. Couple things I want to say before we get going on the starting 9 of this 9th episode of Givin Takes. I want to mention the fact that I'm going to be everywhere. I told you I'd have a schedule for this week for my Stuff on Empty, the Bench Network. I have it for you now, so get ready. Here it is, because I know what you're all thinking. You love me and all me talking about sports, and you want to see more of me all the time. Well, here it is. So, starting off as the normal, Givin Takes, still right here, always Sundays or Mondays, just depending on how the sports week shuffles out. You'll get one of these every single week, and then on Thursdays at 9 a.m., you can catch me on Hitting for the Cycle with the Empty the Bench Network. It's where we talk about baseball every Thursday morning. And then finally, I'm going to be hosting a show. Sorry, I had a little, what's it called? Not a lump in my throat, but had to clear my throat, sorry. Regardless, I'm going to be hosting another show called Unnecessary Wagers. My co-host is going to be Connor Rowland over at the Empty the Bench Network. Super excited about that. Me and him are going to be hosting this every Friday evening around, it's either 5 or 6 p.m. I don't remember the exact time at the moment. But Friday evenings, you are going to be able to see me and Connor talk about sports betting, primarily on baseball, because that's what's going on mostly right now. But we'll also touch on the NHL and the NBA playoffs and golf as that goes along throughout the summer and spring. So that's going to be a very fun show. Fridays at like 5, 6 p.m. I won't have another video out before I am able to confirm that time and I shoot that first episode, because that's starting this week. But I'll put it on my socials, at Givin Takes on Instagram and TikTok. I'll post probably on Instagram as like an Instagram story. I'll post the confirmed time for my inaugural episode on Unnecessary Wagers. And then, as always, on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, follow the Empty the Bench Network at ETB Network, and then just youtube.com/ETB Network if you want to get their full-length content on YouTube. So with all that out of the way, a fun sports week behind us and a lot more to look forward to this week. Let's get into this week's starting 9. Leading off, we're going to be talking about some Laker Magic. I was out on them. A lot of people were out on them heading into the playoffs, but after that Game 1 win, can they make some noise in the West? Then second, I'm going to be going through what I think the top 10 picks in the NFL draft should be. If I was the GM of all 10 teams, or I guess all 9 teams technically, picking within the top 10, these are the picks that I would make. Then third, we're going to be talking about the Dexter Lawrence trade. Very interesting move, getting sent from the Giants to the Bengals. We're going to break down that trade, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. Our fourth topic, we're going to be checking in on the MLB standings. Another week has passed, so it's high time we look at the standings in the MLB, see who is where. Then for our fifth topic, I'm going to be talking about some surprising MLB teams. 3 teams who have surprised me this season, who I think are playing above expectations. I'm not sure if this success will last for these 3 teams, but I'm going to break down how they've been playing above expectations. And then much like the topic above it, our sixth topic is going to be 3 disappointing teams. 3 teams who had high expectations coming into this season and through roughly 20 games are fairly significantly below the bar. And then 7th, as always, you know what's there. It's our State of the Union. And this week it's going to be about the Kansas City Royals. They've been on a dry spell recently, so we're going to see how we can fix the Kansas City Royals. Our 8th topic, like I said last week, a new addition into Givin Takes every week, at least for the time being, is the 3 studs of the week. I pick a small, medium, and big stud. 3 guys who I thought performed very, very well this week. I'm going to break down some of their stats and award them. Last week, our big stud was Joe Adele. Stay tuned to find out who this week's is. And then our 9th topic. I know the playoffs have already gotten going. Some games are already underway. But I will be showing you my NHL playoff bracket because for last week's episode, the season hadn't concluded yet. And I filled out my bracket before the playoffs started, so it's not like I've changed or altered any picks after games have started. This was filled out pre-tournament, so I'm going to give you what my picks were. And then as always, rounding us out, it's the top 10. This week's is sports related, so you have 2 options. You have the first option, which is you just skip to the timestamp into the description that says top 10. You just watch the top 10, then you go about your day doing whatever you please. And then there's another option where you take a load off, you enjoy yourself, get comfortable, get relaxed. Whether you're watching on like a TV or a phone, whatever, get in that comfortable position, put yourself at peace of mind, and listen to me talk about sports for an hour. I like the second option, but, to each their own. So with that being said, let's get it going here after I need to hydrate a little bit. Got a lot to talk about today. It's the leadoff topic. Let's talk about the Lakers. Laker Magic. I don't know. I want to be optimistic because it would be fun, right? I mean, what a game 1 win for the Lakers. They went into the postseason with everyone thinking, including me, thinking they'll be a 4-game sweep, they'll lose in 5, maybe they take it to 6 if LeBron goes crazy. Like, that's where everyone's heads were at. But now, they've won game 1. Luke Kennard had a crazy game. He went insane. I can't believe Bronny James got minutes in that game. I know Kevin Durant didn't play, but still, a big game 1 win for the Lakers because now the most important thing that they could have done is extend the series. Like, right now, before Luka and Reeves get back, it's just extending the series to any extra game is so crucial that the fact that they were able to win the first game and just not have to prolong that extending the series mindset at all to get your stars back was crazily important because Luka Doncic is supposed to return around game 3 or game 4. That's what it's looking at right now. That's a lot different of a situation if you're tied 1-1 or up in the series. It's compared to the Rockets win the first 2. You're down 2-0 heading to Houston. Oh, but you get Luka back. It's still tough to come back from. Now, worst case scenario, if he's back by game 3, you're in a tied series. And that's a great time to get Luka back. You don't have to worry about playing from behind. It gives you a big edge in this series. And then on top of that, they're also missing Austin Reeves right now. Now, Austin Reeves is scheduled to get back around, where is it? I had it up. I lost it. That's all right. Okay, so Austin Reeves has been cleared to play game 2 of this series. So now you get Austin Reeves back. So now it goes from how long are these Lakers stars going to be out? A lot of people probably didn't pick the Lakers to do much to, okay, they won game 1, Reeves has been cleared to play game 2, and Luka could be back by game 3. I mean, if the Lakers can do that, the way Reeves and Luka have been playing this year, on top of the fact that you just have the most decorated playoff player of my generation in LeBron James on your team as well. I mean, that and the fact that Luke Kennard looks like he's playing really good, and they're getting some guys who don't usually produce crazily to step up right now in a time where they do need it. I think there's a chance. I mean, I'm not gonna go throwing any money on it necessarily. I need to see a little bit more. I need it to be proved to me that the Rockets are not gonna be able to handle the Lakers, because as of now, I still think the Rockets are a pretty good team. But we shall see. When it comes to having to play the Thunder in the second round, who knows? It would probably be a great series. Luka versus Shea. I think a lot of people would want to see that. But I don't know. I now think the Lakers can win this series. I didn't have a chance. I didn't think they had a chance before. But I'm now switching my opinion to I think the Lakers have a chance to win this series. After this, though, playing the Thunder, I don't know. We'll see. But that's how I feel about the Lakers. So that's the end of that leadoff topic, quickly talking about the Lakers. And now we're going to move into the second topic, which is the top 10 picks, in my opinion, of the NFL draft. So we're going to just go in order here. Not too much build up for this one. The 10 teams in order are the Las Vegas Raiders, the New York Jets, the Arizona Cardinals, the Tennessee Titans, the New York Giants, the Cleveland Browns, the Washington Commanders, the New Orleans Saints, the Kansas City Chiefs, and then the New York Giants again, who got the 10th pick traded to them by the Bengals for Dexter Lawrence. I had to keep slowing up when I was saying those cities because I've been watching so much baseball recently, so I said Cleveland. I wanted to just naturally say Guardians, and then for Washington, I almost said Nationals. I had to clear all the baseball out of my brain. We're in full swing, no pun intended. But all right, let's get it going. So, who I think Vegas should pick first overall is Fernando Mendoza, quarterback, Indiana. I think that's a pretty... it's not an outlandish take. I mean, I feel like he's the clear number one. I know there have been some reports and rumorings with the whole Kirk Cousins thing and everything that, like, oh, maybe they're trying to go a different direction round one. Maybe they'll go defense. You never know. But honestly, I just don't really see that happening. I think it's just storylines being created to, generate storylines, like, how journalists tend to do, just creating narratives that could be fun. I don't think this one holds any water. Give me Fernando Mendoza going first overall. Then second, I have David Bailey, Texas Tech edge rusher, going to the Jets. I think they need defense. I don't think they need to draft offense, even though their offense is going to be pretty bad. I mean, if Dante Moore didn't decide to go back to Oregon, I'd say maybe that they would take him second overall. But because he's not and he's staying, which who knows, might be because he was slated to go to the Jets, I think that they're going to take David Bailey. I think he's the best edge rusher in the class, in my opinion. So that's who I'm taking to go to the Jets. Third overall, I got Francis Mauigoa, the offensive tackle out of Miami. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, unfortunately. I meant to check the pronunciation before I started recording, but I forgot, so we're going to go with Mauigoa. I have him going to the Arizona Cardinals. They need offensive line help. I'm not quite sure who their quarterback is going to be, but whoever it is, he's going to need to be protected. And the Cardinals haven't really been great at protecting their quarterback over the last few years. I mean, their offensive tackling was terrible last year. So I'm going to say they take him as the third overall pick. Francis Mauigoa, offensive tackle out of Miami. Fourth overall, the Tennessee Titans. I think it's going to be Arvell Reese, linebacker edge out of Ohio State. I think it's a toss-up. I think the two linebackers, both Bailey and Reese, are going to be taken 2 and 4 respectively. It's just the order is kind of the question mark. I think those are the two best linebackers in the draft, or two best edge rushers in the draft, hands down. And I think they deserve to be early picks in the first round. But it's really just going to come down to preference. I think the Jets should take Bailey, which would lead to Reese being picked by Tennessee. But I could see it going the other way and the Jets wanting to take Reese. And then in that case, Bailey would end up being drafted by the Titans. But I'm not 100% sure. That's how I feel about it, though. I'm going Arvell Reese, going to Tennessee. They need help on defense. Fifth overall to the Giants, their first pick of the first 10. I have Carnell Tate, wide receiver, Ohio State, being drafted by the Giants. I accidentally closed my tab where I had all my stuff open for this draft. So I'll talk a little bit as I try to get this loaded back up. But I think the Giants have a really good wide receiver in Malik Neighbors, but he's going to be coming back off of injury. You got Dart and Scatabo, who are going to be returning to that offense. So hopefully Scatabo is going to be healthy. And Jackson Dart, hopefully he takes a step forward this year after his rookie season last year. I mean, it just makes sense with that offense. I know you struggled on defense, but it just makes sense to me for them to go out and get a good wide receiver too. Build a young core, have something that can generate more offense for you than what you currently have, because you do have a good team right now. Or you don't have a great team. You made some good additions in free agency on both sides of the ball, both offense and defense. But I think drafting a really high caliber wide receiver with your 5th pick, given now that you also have the 10th pick, is a smart move. Give Dart another really good target to throw at. Take some pressure off of Malik Neighbors while he's coming back from injury. I think Carnell Tate's a great pick to go to the Giants. 5th overall. And then 6th overall to Cleveland, I have Jeremiah Love, running back running back Notre Dame. He did not go to Ohio State. He went to Notre Dame. I have him going 6th overall to Cleveland. I get you have Quinshon Judkins, but your quarterback or your running back room, aside from that, is just Jerome Ford and rookie Dylan Sampson. I mean, that's not anything crazy to me. So I think if you go out and get Jeremiah Love and just make Quinshon Judkins kind of like the RB2, I mean, in the NFL right now, I think the best teams have really great dual running back games where they have 2 guys that could be running back ones on the same team. I mean, I know that sounds like pretty like, oh, obviously if you have 2 good running backs, you're going to be a better team, but that's not exactly easy to come by. So you can go out, get Jeremiah Love, have him and Judkins kind of split carries, take some pressure off of each other, learn from each other. I think that would be a great move for Cleveland in the run game, because they don't really – I'm not fully bought in on Quinshon Judkins, and it's not like I said, Dylan Sampson and Jerome Ford don't exactly excite me either. Jeremiah Love excites me. So I think he would be good fitting in with the Browns at the 6th pick. Going 7th overall, I have Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver from USC, going to the Washington Commanders. I know this pick could go a lot of different ways. A lot of people actually have Jeremiah Love falling down to the Commanders. I think he should be taken earlier. I don't think they're going to have a chance at him. But if they do go here in this projection that I have, Carnell Tate, wide receiver, Ohio State, I have him being picked 5th. So with them going wide receiver again, I think the second best wide receiver in this draft is Mekhi Lemon, because right now in your wide receiver room, you just have, Terry McLaurin's really good. Treylon Burks is fine. Van Jefferson is already had his best years, in my opinion. De'Ami Brown's young. Luke McCaffrey's young. I mean, but those are no real, exciting names, that's nothing that jumps off the page. Like, whoa, what a wide receiver room. So kind of the same situation as the Giants. You have a good guy. Go add another good guy to take some pressure off of him, play the other side of the ball. I mean, I think Mekhi Lemon would be a great fit for that position. So, just go do it, Washington. Go out, get him, spend that 7th pick on a wide receiver. So that's who I have going 7th. Going 8th now to the New Orleans Saints, I have Caleb Downs, safety, Ohio State. I think with Shaw and everything, they kind of started to figure out their offense last year to the point where I don't think you need a 1st-round pick spent on an offensive player. I think you can kind of afford to wait until the 2nd or 3rd round to start worrying about that. But their pass game wasn't very good last year. Adding a safety to that could be really beneficial, and Caleb Downs, to me, is the best safety in this draft and just a very good fit in New Orleans. I think he would be great down there. I think that would be great for the Saints. Give me Caleb Downs going 8th to the Saints. 9th, the Kansas City Chiefs. They're not picking in the top 10 often. Who do I have them picking? I have them picking Reuben Bain Jr., defensive end from Miami. Yeah, 2 Hurricanes in the top 10. Second most outside of Ohio State. I have 3 Buckeyes going in the top 10. But give me Reuben Bain Jr. going 9th. Chris Jones is getting old, and as we saw from some of his moments last season, doesn't look like he has that same fire and passion on the field that he used to. So you need a hole to fill because Chris Jones is going to be gone soon, and even while he's still here, he's not playing all that great. You need some help on the defensive line. Go out and get Reuben Bain Jr. Was great in Miami last year. This is going to be a down year for Kansas City without Mahomes. I know they signed Malik Willis and Kenneth Walker, which helps. That'll sell more tickets. I don't know how competitive it's going to make them, but they'll be more competitive if they go out and bolster their defensive line in the first round. So I haven't taken Reuben Bain Jr. 9th. Then 10th overall, the Giants' second pick that they received from the Bengals in the Dexter Lawrence trade. I have them going cornerback this round, this pick, I'm going Mansour Delane, the corner from LSU. The Giants need help on defense. I think the linebacking core and the D-line, even though you just lost Dexter Lawrence, is still going to be pretty solid. And obviously losing Dexter Lawrence hurts, but I think you need to replace that. You won't replace him exactly on the D-line, but use that pick to go out and bolster your secondary. Your secondary was not very good last year. I watched a decent amount of Giants games. They gave up a lot of stuff down the field, so adding a guy like Delane out of LSU I think is really going to help them out and put their defense in a position that allows their offense to score a conceivable amount of points every game to win. So those are my top 10 picks in the NFL draft, what I think they'll be, what I think they should be. It goes Mendoza first to Vegas, Bailey second to the Jets, Goa third to the Cardinals, Reese fourth to the Titans, Tate fifth to the Giants, Love sixth to the Browns, Lemon seventh to the Nationals. I did the baseball thing. Lemon seventh to the Commanders, Downs eighth to the Saints, Bain Jr. ninth to the Chiefs, and Delane 10th to the Giants. Almost said Kansas City Royals there too. Like I'm like having to fight the instinctive urge I have to say the baseball team's thing when I see the city abbreviated. Baseball's got a grip on my brain right now. It's bad. But those were my top 10 picks. That is it for our second subject. Wow, I'm misspeaking a bunch today. I'm tripping over my words. I've done that a lot these last few episodes. I don't like that. I gotta be a better host. I think I'm talking too fast. I think I'm just going and I'm tripping up over my words. But you know what? It happens, man. It happens. Don't got to worry about it. Unless, obviously you guys are all mad and you hate whenever I mess up. Then I do need to worry about it because that would lose viewership. All right. I don't even know what I'm saying. Let's talk about the Dexter Lawrence trade already. What the heck are the Bengals doing? What the hell are the Bengals doing? Like, come on. What are you, like... So you lose Trey Hendrickson, and you go out and you trade the 10th overall pick just to replace Trey Hendrickson. You needed to add around Trey Hendrickson because the 10 other guys you have on defense suck. Like, you should have saved that pick to go out and draft a defender or found a way to get the trade and maybe give up a player and not the 10th pick because you needed that pick to bolster your defense. And now it's like... you're reinforcing the same spot on a broken wall after it started to crack, and you're not worrying about any of the rest of the wall right now. Like, the wall is broken, and the one spot that looked good started to crack, and you decided to just patch that spot up thinking it'll fix the whole wall. But when you take a step back and look at your wall, it's still broken, and it sucks. That's how I feel about the Bengals' defense. This did absolutely nothing productive for them rather than just change where the best player is going to be on the field. I think it's bad, especially because you gave up the 10th pick. I don't know what the Bengals were thinking. I think this is an absolute fleece job by the New York Giants. This is great for the New York Giants. Harbaugh and whoever over there that are cooking the moves up that are being made this offseason deserve a lot of credit because, in my opinion right now, they have been the champions of this offseason. Like, I'll do offseason winners like a couple months down the road once we start talking more and more about the NFL. But the Giants, I don't think anyone's going to surpass them. They've had a fantastic offseason, and managing to get rid of Dexter Lawrence, who you've had contract disputes with, for the 10th overall pick just seems like not only a huge weight lifted off the shoulders of the Giants organization, but it's actually seeming more like how many fans are going to be upset now that they don't have Dexter Lawrence because of the return you were able to get? I mean, obviously it's all going to depend on who they pick and how that player performs throughout their NHL or NFL career. But all in all, man, great trade for the Giants, terrible trade for the Bengals. If I were to give it grades, I'm going to go just straight up A+ for the Giants, F for the Bengals. Sometimes, man, GMs just make moves that make you scratch your brain, and you're like, why would you do that? This is one of those for me. I get why you wanted a guy like Dexter Lawrence, but why did you make that trade for just Dexter Lawrence? I don't know. There are reasons. I'm not an NFL GM, obviously, but I feel like I'd be smart enough to know that's a bad trade. So now we're going to go into the baseball portion of the episode. We talked some football. We talked a little bit of hoops. That's all well and good. but it's time to talk about the main sport going on right now. It's the baseball section of the episode, topics 4 through 8, where all of it's about baseball. So strap in, buckle up, grab your peanuts and Cracker Jacks, and let's get going. We're going to start off with the MLB Standings Check In. This is where I run through every division, the standings in them, and just a couple quick notes on every team that I don't script because I decided I don't want to script this portion of the episode, and I just want to go off the top of my head. Here's how I feel about the teams. So let's get going with that. Let's start in the National League East. Braves are 15-7. They're 8-2 in their last 10 in first place. Marlins are at 10-12. They are 3-7 in their last 10 in second place. Nationals in third, also at 10-12. They're 6-4 in their last 10. The Phillies in fourth, they're 8-13, 2-8 in their last 10. And just when you think it can't get any worse, the Mets are in fifth place. They're 7-15, 0-10 in their last 10, 0-11 in their last 11. That's an 11-game losing streak. But the Braves, man, they're looking like a really good team, one of the best teams in the MLB right now. Marlins and Nationals are just two very interesting teams to me, like teams that show flashes of the fact that they're able to be good, but they just kind of look like teams that haven't fully put it together yet, which is understandable. They're two very young teams, but it's just interesting whenever you're trying to figure out what the identity of a team is. Like, I don't think either of those teams are going to be terrible, but I don't think they're going to be too great either, because I think they're going to both have too many games where they beat themselves. But they're also going to have games where they punish their opponents. They're going to be a real coin flip. Phillies are incredibly disappointing. We'll touch on that more later. Same with the Mets. I mean, just kind of overarching for both of these. These are two teams that were supposed to be front runners in this division last year, and now through 21 and 22 games respectively, both teams are just playing terrible, especially within their last 10, both of them. I mean, they've won a combined 2 games over the course of their last 13, have the Phillies and the Mets. That's just really, really bad, and maybe money just can't buy championships like everyone thinks it can. Maybe the Dodgers, I mean, obviously they have Ohtani, but they seem like the only major market team that just goes out, buys players, and actually succeeds doing it, because the Phillies and the Mets have not wowed me this year, and it's not like either of those teams have made the World Series within the last 3 or 4 years since they've started buying. I know the Phillies made it in 2022 and almost won the World Series, even though they got no hit in it. I know it took 6 for the Astros to defeat them, but as of late, since they've become big buyers of these big-name guys, they haven't done anything. So just incredibly terrible baseball by the Phillies and the Mets. Now on to the best division in baseball, the NL Central. Reds are in first place. They're currently 14-8, 6-4 in their last 10. Cardinals in second place at 13-8, 7-3 in their last 10. Pirates are 13-9, 6-4 in their last 10 in third place. The Cubs are 12-9, 7-3 in their last 10. They find themselves in fourth place. And in lonely last place, it's the Milwaukee Brewers, also at 12-9. So I guess it's not too lonely for them, but they are 4-6 in their last 10. The Reds are very surprising. I said I didn't think they took that step forward, and the more I'm watching them play, the more it looks like they really did take that step forward. They are not losing many games right now. It feels like every night I check to see if the Reds lost, because I hope it moves the Pirates up, and it's just every night they're winning. Same with St. Louis. I don't know how they're playing this well. It's very surprising to me, actually. I slated them to be the second worst team in the National League, possibly one of the worst in the MLB. And it's just not working out. Or not that. It's just not working out in terms of my opinion on the Cardinals there. They're actually playing very well. Jordan Walker looks unreal this season. I don't know. I definitely didn't project him to play like this season, but he figured something out that I was unaware about. Cardinals are playing great. Pirates, they've beat themselves quite a few games so far. They had some bad luck with the rain, too, against the Rays. But the Pirates, they have a really good offense. They're second in team ERA, and I think like fourth in team OPS in the MLB. So they can pitch, they can hit. They're a great team. They just need to stop beating themselves, and they need to improve in extra innings. And then the Cubs and the Brewers. I thought they would be the front runners. I know it's early, and they're tied for losses with the Pirates and only one loss behind both the Reds and the Cardinals. But I mean, after Cade Horton getting hurt, I didn't have too much faith that the Cubs would do much just because their lineup looked pretty shaky. The Cubs did not care, though. I mean, they still look great. Their rotation looks fine. Their offense is going crazy. They were mashing the Phillies this week. It was absolutely ridiculous. The Cubs just don't know how to lose right now. And then the Brewers, I mean, I never count out the Brewers, even though I don't think they look like the biggest threat. It's just, they're the Brewers. They always seem to find a way to have these players that you've never heard of before in your life go off and play absolutely crazy. I'm talking a little too long-winded about these teams, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Dodgers, 15-6, first place. And I'm going to skip the last 10, too. I'm going to expedite this a little bit. Dodgers at 15-6 in first place. They're playing unreal like everyone expected. I mean, they're the Dodgers. Padres, though, close behind, 15-7 in second. Padres are going to be, I think, really tight with the Dodgers all year. Diamondbacks a surprising 13-9. I said I didn't really know what to make of this team at the start of the season. I still kind of believe that because I don't really know who the Diamondbacks are, but they look good right now. And then the Rockies and Giants in 4th and 5th, both at 9-13. Not bad for the Rockies after having one of the worst seasons in the history of Major League Baseball, but bad for the Giants, who I think had higher expectations for themselves this season, and starting 4 games below 500 is not exactly where you want to be. Now going on to the American League East, Yankees at first, 13-9. Their offense is starting to come back to life a little bit, and that pitching staff is still elite. The Rays are 12-9 in second place. I don't know who had them slated playing this well this season. I certainly didn't, but they look like they have a pretty solid team this year. Orioles at 10-12. Much like the Diamondbacks, I still don't know what to make of the Orioles. They give up a lot of runs. They score a lot of runs. It's a lot of these tight shootouts for them. It's something else watching the Orioles. Then the Red Sox, who have been a fairly disappointing team so far at 9-13. They're 5-5 in their last 10, so they've been starting to pick it up after their horrible start. I mean, since kind of evening out at 4-8, they started like 1-5, evened out at 4-8, and they've just played 500 ball since then. They're kind of playing average, but a rough start is hurting them right now. And then the extremely disappointing Toronto Blue Jays in last place in the division at 8-13. We'll talk a little bit more about them later, so I'll skip harping on them for now. The American League Central, Cleveland Guardians at first place at 13-10. Guardians are doing Guardian things. They're at the top of their division. Didn't lose a step from last year. Tigers, 12-11. They've bounced back, 8-2 in their last 10. They were playing, I know they were playing really bad to start the season, but I said I thought they would find a way to turn it around. They did. They're now back over 500. They're 8-1 at home, too. That's a very impressive home record. The Twins in third place at 11-11. I did not expect the Twins to be at or over 500 at all this season, actually. I thought they would get swept the opening series and never find their way back. I had zero faith in the Twins, but they're 11-11 right now. So, I mean, I'll give them their flowers. Derek Shelton's managing them fine. They're playing pretty good, but Derek Shelton loves to play great in April and then fall off a cliff. So, I don't know how long this will hold up for the Twins. Then the Chicago White Sox in fourth place, out of the basement Chicago, at 8-14. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Murakami is amazing. I think he's my Rookie of the Year pick right now if I had to take one in the AL. I know it's close with McGonigal, and that's who my preseason pick was, but Murakami just won't stop hitting home runs, even though the average isn't there. And then in dead last in the American League as a whole, not just the American League Central, but the American League as a whole, is the Kansas City Royals. They're at 7-15. They're on a 7-game losing streak. We're going to be talking about them coming up here in the State of the Union, so I will skip harping on them for now as well. Then in the American League West, last division we're covering, Athletics are in first place at 11-11. Their pitching staff has figured it out a little bit. Their offense is still there. They're still beating up teams. I mean, they have a very explosive offense in Oakland or Sacramento or Vegas or whatever you want to call them. The Athletics have a very good offense. But then also at 11-11 is the Texas Rangers, so tied for first place. They've been playing pretty good ball this year, too. Like I said, nothing crazy. It's crazy that being 500 has got you at the top of the AL West. This makes me think that a lot of teams are going to be in contention for this division all season. So You got the Rangers and the Athletics at 11-11. Mike Trout and the Angels are 11-12, so they're half a game back of first place. They are in third place. Mike Trout looks like he's back this year. Mike Trout may be single-handedly winning games for the Angels again. It looks like he's in form. I'm going to be talking about Mike Trout later, actually. And then the Mariners, kind of disappointing at 10-13. They've played some tough series so far. They've played some good teams, but it's got to swing around soon. Like, you can start like this for maybe until like the start of May, but if you're still like 5-6, like if you get to like 5-6 games under 500, then you might want to start pushing the panic button a little bit. But for now, it's disappointing, not how you wanted to start, but I still think they can bring it back. And then finally, dead last in the AL West, it's the Houston Astros. They're at 8-15. It's not good. They've been playing very poorly as of late. They are 2-8 in their last 10. I know they're riddled with injuries, so that's why they're not on State of the Union this week, because I know they've been injured and injuries happen. Like, you can't control that, but still they gotta be playing better. 8-15 in this division, which isn't that stacked. I mean, you are extremely lucky to only be down by 3.5 games in that division. So that is it for the MLB Standings Check In. That was me going over all the teams, what their record is, where they're at in the division, and towards the end they were quick thoughts. I got a little long-winded with myself for those first two divisions, but you know I'm always going to talk about the Pirates and their rivals more than I should, because it's just that's the division I pay attention to the most, that I know the most about, super keyed in on it, and I just get to going when talking about Pittsburgh, man, especially now that Penguins are now down 3-0, and they just lost. They're going to lose game 2. So down 2-0 going to Philadelphia. That's rough. That's sad. That makes me angry. But I'm not going to get mad because I'm recording an episode. Smile. All smiles. That's right. I'm happy. Look at me. This is happy. We're going to go on to the fifth topic now. These are going to be my 3 surprising MLB teams. The first of which are the Minnesota Twins. Like I said, I didn't expect them to be good at all this year, like by any stretch of the imagination. Like I said, I thought they would start terrible and finish even worse, but I have to tip my cap to them, give them their respect. They started 11-11, even though I know this is what Derek Shelton loves to do. He loves to start he loves to start off the year great, and then he just falls off a cliff after the calendar hits May. So that's why I think they're going to go downhill, but like I said, they still deserve some respect. My second surprising team is the Cardinals. The other team that I said was going to be god-awful this year, had no hope. I didn't like anything about them. They're in second place right now. Do I think they'll keep this up for the rest of the season? Maybe. If their guys keep playing like this, I think it's definitely sustainable. I mean, they don't have too many fluky wins. I mean, I'm not saying they're a powerhouse team, but do I think they can be a team that wins 75 games? Yeah, I'd say the Cardinals could win 75 games. I know that's a big 180 after me saying they'll just barely be better than the Rockies, but I've watched them play like 21 baseball games now. You have a better idea who the team is, and I really do think there is a chance that 75 wins won't get you in the playoffs, but it'll get you in some playoff conversations leading up to it, you know? So that's how I feel about that. Even though it's really hard for me to say that because I hate the Cardinals because they're a division rival, I'm not oblivious to the fact that they're playing good. And then my third most surprising team is the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think a lot of Diamondbacks fans would be like, oh, well, we knew we were going to come out playing like this. Like, they knew the roster more intimately and how the guys have been doing and more about their young guys, so they had the faith. For me, I didn't know what to make of this team, like I said. And I thought, if anything, they would be kind of a mundane, like an 11-11 or a 10-12 or a 12-10, like something like that. But they're at 13-9, which pushes that needle a little bit more to the, okay, I'm impressed. Because it's also the quality of their wins and the quality of their play that has surprised me. I mean, they just seem to be firing on all cylinders. It looks like they've been pitching pretty well. The offenses seem to be there. It's been fun watching Corbin Carroll this season. He just had a grand slam. I like how he's playing, which is huge for the Diamondbacks if they can get him going offensively. I don't know if they're a playoff team because of how stacked their division is. Like, with just how many times they are going to have to play the Dodgers and the Padres. It's going to be rough for them to stack up a division-winning amount of wins, in my opinion. But the NL, aside from the NL Central, there's a lot of weak teams. I mean, you think Braves, Dodgers, Padres, and then kind of everyone in the NL Central, because unless the Phillies heat back up and become a serious threat, I don't think there's anyone else right now that's playing convincingly good baseball. I'll give it to all 5 teams in the NL Central, and then, like I said, Dodgers, Padres, Braves. That's only 8 teams that I think are playing legit right now. So insert the Diamondbacks in there as the 9th team, then you're what? 3rd out of the wild card, if I'm calling you the 9th best team. That gets you sort of in the mix. So I don't know. Are they a playoff team? I really don't know, but I would like to see the Diamondbacks continue at this rate, because I think it would be nice for there to be another competitive team in the National League. Because the NL East, they got the Braves, and then it's just like in terms of quality. But yeah, those are my 3 most surprising MLB teams so far this season. The Twins, the Cardinals, and the D-backs. Let me know who's surprising you. I mean, a lot of people, you might have thought I would have said the Pirates. I knew this about the Pirates going into the season, that they were going to pitch great and hit great. So this is not surprising to me. This is what I expected. But maybe it was to a lot of other people. I don't know. Now we're going to go to our 6th topic, which are the disappointing teams. Totally opposite note. Sad, somber, you suck. And the team that defines that the most right now is the Mets. They've lost 11 in a row. I said that the Mets were one of the best teams on paper coming into this season, and they could beat the Dodgers if they just don't met. And they are metting so bad right now. Like, they are ultra metting right now. 11 straight losses in April. I know it's early, all right? They can play 10 games over 500 baseball for the remaining 140 games of the season, obviously. This is a bad start. You're getting close to like an insurmountably bad start. Like, there is something to be said about it just being the beginning of the season, but there is also definitely something to be said about starting so bad that no matter how you play the rest of the year, it's just you physically cannot come back from it. And I think the Mets are getting really close to that point. Another team who I think is getting fairly close to that point is the Phillies. Now, the Phillies can't met, because they're not the Mets. The Mets just have a way about them which cannot be described or quantified in any like factual manner. It's just like you see it happen all the time, so you know like there's something with the Mets. Like Lindor does not look like he wants to be there right now. I think that's radiating in the locker room. Talked about that last week, so I'll digress. The Phillies are just, they don't have as much of that, it just seems to always go bad luck for them. It just seems like their guys that they went out and spent all this money on, like Schwarber and Adolis, are not really what we expected them to be, which is like somewhat consistently productive hitters. They just haven't really been that. And, Turner and Harper are like, nothing special, nothing like super god-awful. Like Realmuto, Bohm, like all these guys are just like, and the pitching doesn't seem to be what it was. Like they're giving up double-digit runs a lot. So the Phillies are, I don't think it's like everything's going to go horribly wrong. I think they just have a lot of guys that just haven't really heated up yet, which I think will happen, but like it's got to happen soon. Same thing with the Mets. You don't want to get to a point that you can't come back from. And then finally, arguably the most disappointing, at 8-15 in last place in their division, it's the Toronto Blue Jays. You're coming off a World Series loss where you had one more out to get, and then you lose it in extras, and it's a heartbreaker. You think about it all off season. You get fired up. You're like, we want to play. We want to get back there. We were so close. We could taste it. We got to get back. And then you suck. Like, you got swept by the White Sox. You lost a series to the Rockies. You're like, I know you lost Bo Bichette, but like, he was injured a lot last year. He wasn't like crazy productive. You still have most of your main guys, and you added Okamoto. Like, what happened? What happened, Toronto? Like, what's going on? Is this, and I truly don't know. I don't know if this is a case of guys are just playing poorly right now. I don't know if this is a case of you made bad signings or players are just regressing now, and last year was kind of a fluke season. I don't know what it is, but I know a lot of people expected Toronto to kind of be in Tampa's position right now, like right up there with the Yankees in the division, and they're in the basement. So Toronto's got some kinks to work out because an 8-15 start is not what you want from the defending American League champions. So those were my 3 disappointing teams: the Mets, the Phillies, and the Blue Jays. I think if you were to ask a lot of people who are the 3 most disappointing teams in the MLB, those would probably be the consensus 3. I can't really think of another big name team that's playing so badly where it's like, oh, like that's really disappointing. Like Giants, maybe, but there weren't exactly the highest of expectations for the Giants this year. You can't really say it about the Tigers because they're still a game over 500, even though they started poorly. I wouldn't call that disappointing. The Mariners are probably the closest, honestly, that I can think of. Mariners coming off a really good season, starting off slow. Raleigh hasn't really heated up. There were a couple there. I think the Mariners could be the only other one that you can maybe slide into the top 3 of most disappointing, but those were mine. The surprising were the Twins, the Cardinals, and the Diamondbacks, and the disappointing were the Mets, Phillies, and Blue Jays. And yes, those are my 3 most surprising and most disappointing teams so far in this young MLB season. Now it's time. You've all been waiting for it. You know it's the 7th subject every week. You get excited for it. You wait all week for it. I know this. I know these things. You're excited for the State of the Union. Let's go. It's State of the Union time. Welcome, welcome. It's going to be fun, and we're going to talk about the Kansas City Royals. Losers of their last 7. That's not what you want. I think it was crazy that, like, this happened before this losing streak started, but I just wanted to use this also as an excuse to touch on the fact that their catcher overslept for a game. I think I talked about that on the show. Sorry, I have to plug in my laptop. There we go. I didn't have it plugged in. That would be bad because then I would die my computer would die while I was recording this, and that would mean I have to restart. So I had to make sure I plugged that in. But the Royals had their catcher oversleep for a game, and then Salvador Perez, who was preparing to DH, had to just like get ready and catch on a whim. I know that was in like the first or second week of the season, so that's like old news. But, since I'm talking about the Royals, I wanted to bring that up. But losers of their last 7, I think a big problem, why can't they win on the road right now? It's a small sample size, but they've played 12 games on the road and only won 2 of them. Like, 2-10 on the road is not good. Like, I don't know if I'm not going to pinpoint this as a problem that's going to persist, right? Like, so, all right, we got to figure out how to win on the road now. Like, we got to make sure we do that. I'm not saying that because I don't think it's going to be a burning issue of all season long the Royals can never win on the road. Like I said, it's a small sample size, and they've played some good teams on the road. I mean, they had to play at Detroit and at the Yankees, and they lost all 6 of those games. So before that, they were 2-4. So, like I said, take that with a grain of salt. But also, it's like, that's not very good. I mean, you shouldn't have gotten swept both times. I know you played 2 great teams, but, like, getting swept twice, like, you have to win at least one of those games. And, I mean, and the game before those 2 series started, you got beat by the White Sox at home, which was a series that you ultimately split with the White Sox. The White Sox won the bookends, the Royals won the middle 2. But it's like, so it's like not that bad, right? I'm saying it's like a lot, but it's not that bad, but it's also not very good. Like, you can't gloss over that, but you also don't want to pay attention to it too much. There's like a middle ground where you have to take note of it, but not freak out about it. You play 2 good teams on the road, but you lost all 6 of the games. Not the worst thing that you lost to the 2 teams on the road, but telling potentially in a way that you played 2 of the better teams in the AL and you couldn't beat them once. Like, regardless of where you were playing at. Do they win some of those games if they're at home? I don't really think so. I mean, 2-1, 2-1, 9-10, or 10-9, 4-2, 13-4, 7-0. I mean, you had 3 one-run losses to the Tigers, so I'll give you maybe a game there if you play those at home. But the beatings by the Yankees were just straight-up beatings. I don't think they're winning any of those games, regardless of where those ones are played at. So I don't know. Their pitching is not doing much, and neither is their hitting. I mean, they have scored 71 runs so far this year and have let up 103. That's a negative 32 run differential. So that's just like run differential is such a huge tell of how bad is this bad team. You see some teams that are maybe a couple games under 500, but their run differential is very, very small. So, they've had some good wins, but they're losing some close games. The Royals at negative 32 already means they're not really doing much right on either side of the ball. Now, that's a bit outlier because of these 2 most recent games against the Yankees, but there's still losses on your record, and there's still games that you played that are telling to what you are as a team. So Royals need to find a way to turn it around this week. They need to snap that losing streak. I foresee this losing streak not going on too much longer. If we look at the Royals' upcoming games, they have 3 at home against Baltimore and then 3 at home against the Angels. I feel like that losing streak is going to get snapped somewhere in the Kansas City series or somewhere in the Baltimore series, and they actually win the series against the Angels. So I think that the Royals are going to take a swing back and pick back up, but I think it's going to help that they have these games at home. Maybe they were tired from being on the road. I don't know, but Royals fans should be happy that their next 6 are at home. Whew. So that's all I had to say about the Royals. They're either going to get a lot better or a lot worse after this week, too, because there's a State of the Union trend brewing with my baseball teams. I know it's only been 2 weeks, but I put the Athletics on the State of the Union when they were 1-5, and then they come back around, and now they're 11-11. So they're 11-6 since my State of the Union on them. The Mets, on the other side, have not won a game since last week's episode. So one team is playing well over 500 right now. The other team has not won a game. So let's see if we get another crazy swing with the Royals this upcoming week in 2 weeks. I feel like they're either going to play a lot better or a lot worse now that I've called them out. But that's just a prediction. We'll see if it sticks. So now let's get to our second staple of the MLB season. It's the 3 studs of the week. This is the topic where every week I sit down and I pick 3 players, a small stud, a medium stud, and a big stud. 3 guys who I think stood out above the rest throughout the week. Sometimes it's based on single game performances. Sometimes it's based on how they did throughout the week. It's kind of a grab bag, how I'm feeling. I like to at least include one of each every time. So I'm going to get into it. My small stud of the week is Jackson Merrill. Jackson Merrill had a highlight reel this week. He had a home run robbery and a walk-off double. I mean, that's talk about a game. Kind of like Joe Adell, minimized. He only had 1 home run robbed, but he also had a walk-off. So you could kind of say, sort of similar in a way, taking over a game. But home run robbery and a walk-off double. Absolutely great game, and I feel like even though that might have not been the best single game performance of the week, it was still something that needed to be highlighted. I commend him for that. I love a good home run robbery, especially when that guy walks it off. I mean, come on. Jackson Merrill, great job, small stud of the week. My medium stud of the week is Brandon Lau on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Brandon Lau had a great week. This ain't even biased. I mean, it was great. He had a stretch of 3 games where he had 4 home runs and 11 RBIs. That was in the 3rd game of the Chicago series, in the first 2 games in the series against the Washington Nationals. And then against the Rays, he had a 2 RBI double, and he had an RBI in the game against Washington before that. So that means since April 12th, in the last 8 days, Brandon Lau has 14 RBIs and 4 home runs. Those are really good numbers, especially considering before that he only had 4. He's really heated up. He's been great for the Pirates, even though he struggled against lefties so far this season. He's my medium stud of the week. And then my big stud of the week, I love to see him return to form. I said it earlier. It's Michael Trout. Oh, He's been playing great. He had 7 home runs this season, and he hit 5. He had 5 home runs in a series against the Yankees in New York. 5 home runs in 4 games. He had a 4-game homer stretch. Absolutely unreal. Mike Trout's looking like Mike Trout again, and I think every baseball fan loves to see that, especially after his injury scare when he got hit on the hand against the Mariners. A lot of people thought, oh, Mike Trout injury again, but he's bounced back, and he's bounced back in a way to let you know that, like, I'm still Mike Trout, and I'm still here. So he is my big stud of the week, my 3 studs of the week. My small stud, it was Jackson Merrill for the home run robbery and the walk-off double. Brandon Lau was my medium stud for his 14 RBIs and 4 home runs over the last 8 days. And then Mike Trout was my big stud for the 5 home runs in the series against the Yankees and the 7 home runs overall on this young season. And now it's bracket time. You know I love filling out brackets on this show, and it's bracket season with March Madness passing. NBA and NHL playoffs are here. Just another bracket. I got a World Cup bracket I got to fill out soon. I had the WBC bracket I filled out. Just a whole bunch of brackets. And today's is my NHL bracket. Now, the playoffs have already started. I just told you that I was watching Game 2 earlier of Pens Flyers. We're down 2-0 in the series, which is not good for my bracket. But the playoffs are underway, but none of my picks have changed since me filling them out because I made a graphic for it before the playoffs started, so I couldn't even change it if I wanted to because I'm honest like that. So we're going to get to it. I'm going to do it just like I did the NBA bracket, except instead of filling it out live, I already have it filled out, and I'm just going to put the images up for you on the screen as I go along. So, starting off in the West, we got the Colorado Avalanche and the Los Angeles Kings. I'm going to be taking the Colorado Avalanche to win this series. President's Trophy winners. I think the best team in hockey. No one's disputing that. I like them to win their first round game. Dallas and Minnesota. That game 2 is actually going on right now as I watch. The Wild are up 1-0 in that series, which is good for me because I have picked the Minnesota Wild to advance to the second round to face the Colorado Avalanche. I thought the Wild were the better team going into this, even though they were seeded beneath Dallas. I thought they had a good shot getting that 2 seed. They didn't end up getting it. I don't think it's going to hurt them that much. I still think they take the series. Winning Game 1 at home was helpful for that, or winning Game 1 on the road helped me out a lot in that. We'll see if they can keep it going. I have Minnesota. Utah and Vegas. Give me the new blood. Give me the Utah Mammoth to go out here and win a playoff series. I don't think they're going to do much in the playoffs past this, but I think this is a solid team. I think Vegas, despite winning their division, does look like a pretty beatable hockey team to me, especially over the course of a 7-game series. So I'm going to take the new guys, a little upset, give me the Utah Mammoth. And then finally in the West, the Oilers and the Ducks. I don't think the Oilers, even though the Ducks are a good team, I don't think the Oilers go out in the first round after having gone to back-to-back Stanley Cups. It just doesn't seem like that'll happen. So I have them advancing to the second round. Then in the East, we got a little Buffalo, New York action, or Boston, New York action here. A little rivalry restored in a different sport. Sabres and Bruins. I got the Sabres. I think they're the best team in the East. Skill-wise, they've been playing lights out all season. And, I mean, the game they played last night where they just exploded for like 4 goals in 5 minutes or something like that. It was absolutely crazy. They stole that game from Boston. It was a big one to win. They got Boston in a demoralized position. So I'm happy I had the Sabres there. Then we got the Lightning and the Canadiens. This was a tough one for me to pick. Almost a coin flip. I could see it going other way. Spoiler alert, I feel like no matter who wins this game, they go down to Buffalo in the second round. But just for the slightly more playoff experience at their backs, I'm taking the Tampa Bay Lightning because, I mean, also they still have Kucherov and they still have Vasilevsky. Like, I think that probably wins them that series. Then down bottom right, we got the Carolina Hurricanes and the Ottawa Senators. Give me the Hurricanes pretty handily in this matchup. I think this is maybe a 5-game series at most. The Senators are fine. They're a solid team. It's just Carolina's too good. Carolina's too good. They're a powerhouse. They're a great team. And if I wasn't biased, I'd probably have them going farther in my bracket. And then finally, it's just probably a pretty obvious one for you to guess where I'm going, even though it doesn't look so hot right now. The Penguins going up against the Flyers. Give me the Penguins. I'm ride or die with them. We lost 2 games at home, and it really sucks. Maybe we snatch a couple in Philly. Who knows? But I got the Penguins winning that series. Then, in the second round matchups, Avalanche and Wild. I'm taking another upset here. I'm taking the Minnesota Wild. I really like this Minnesota Wild team. I think they are very, very good. And, part of this is just kind of like, maybe if they were playing the Avalanche and the Avalanche didn't win the President's Trophy, I'd feel a different type of way. But I believe in that President's Trophy curse, man. I believe you go out and you just go below expectations when you win the President's Trophy, because obviously expectations are always winning the Stanley Cup. So I think the Avalanche just fall short. I don't think they get it done. So I'm taking the Minnesota Wild to advance to the Western Conference Final. And then who will they face? I have them facing the, I almost said Houston Oilers. I have them facing the Edmonton Oilers. Utah's good, but I think even though the goaltending is a very big question mark for the Oilers with Tristan Jarry, I think if they're able to get to that point, I think Utah is good enough to beat Vegas. I don't think they'll be good enough to beat Edmonton. I think just the playoff experience and drive that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are going to be playing with will be very hard for Utah to keep up with. So I'll have them going to face Minnesota in the Western Conference Finals. And then in the East, Buffalo in Tampa Bay. I got Buffalo winning, as I alluded to earlier. I just think they're too good of a team. I think Tampa, they might take them to 6 or 7 games, but I think Buffalo is going to end up on top. And then in Carolina and Pittsburgh, I'm taking my Penguins again. How can I not? I mean, the way I'm justifying this bracket is if they win this first series, they have the guys and the experience to just go out and get the whole thing done. They can go on a run because they have guys that have gone there and done it before. So is it also me being hopeful and biased that my favorite team wins? Maybe. I mean, on paper a lot, and the majority pick will most definitely be Carolina to win that series if it is how things unfold. But I'm going with Pittsburgh there. I'm picking with my heart, not my head. Give me the Penguins to advance to face Buffalo in the conference finals. On the left side now, back Western Conference Finals, Wild and Oilers. I think this is where the goaltending woes finally catch up with the Oilers. Give me the Minnesota Wild to advance to the Stanley Cup Final in 2026. They're a good team. They're a really good team. And like I said, I think they're really sound defensively. They're going to be able to keep a lot of pressure up on this Oilers team. And I don't think Tristan Jarry and the goaltending team are going to be able to handle the Wild. So that is who I have representing the West in the Stanley Cup Final. And now in the East, where I have the Penguins going up against the Sabres, I have the Penguins winning that too. I think if Crosby and Malkin and Letang and Carlson and Skinner are able to get to this point, they're not going to stop here. They have the playoff experience. They have the drive. They've been in this position numerous times, and they'll be going up against a Buffalo team who has not been in the playoffs since 2006. I think the experience just overtakes the other team here. I think it overtakes Buffalo here, and I think that's going to be a big course throughout that run. I know they're down 2-0 right now, but I think that experience, that what's the word for it? Just that playoff energy that you get whenever you know you're down in a situation or you're in must-win games. Like, I think that's going to kick in for the Penguins here soon after 2 pretty rough losses. And I think that's going to carry with them throughout the rest of the tournament if they can get past Philadelphia. So they are my biased kind of. I mean, if I was picking super objectively, I don't know how I would have made some of these picks, but I just couldn't not pick the Penguins, okay? I had to pick the Penguins. They're my Eastern Conference champion. And then the Wild and the Penguins in the final. Crazy battle. Sidney Crosby does not lose the Stanley Cup final. He doesn't. If he makes it there and he's good enough to get there, he's going to win it. That's how this Pens team is. They may not look like they have the shot to win it from the outside when there's 16 left, but every round they advance, they seem to play better. And if they get to these big moments in these big games, they're not going to lose them. So given that's how I think this run is going to go, give me the Pittsburgh Penguins as my Stanley Cup champion. Simple as that. So that is my Stanley Cup bracket. It's still up on the screen for you right now, and I'm taking it down. I'm taking it down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's gone. It's gone. You had all the time you needed to look at it. It's gone forever now. You'll never see it again unless you follow me on Instagram because I'm going to post it there. But that's it. That's all we have for the starting 9. That was my NHL playoff bracket. What is it with me saying words today? I don't understand it. I don't know what's gotten into me. I'm saying all my words. But that was my NHL playoff bracket. That was a whole bunch about baseball. Those were some surprising teams, some disappointing teams. My State of the Union on the Mets, my 3 big studs of the week. My projection for the top 10 picks in the MLB, there I go again. The NFL draft. Can the Lakers make the magic happen? I think they can for the time being. I talked about the Dexter Lawrence trade, and we looked at the MLB standings. I think that was a pretty fun starting 9. I had fun this episode. I hope you did too, but don't go anywhere yet, because it's time for the top 10. This week's one is kind of interesting. I'm not going to have pictures up for the top 10 this week because there's nothing really that makes sense to put up picture-wise for this one because it would just be letters. So instead of just doing letters, I'm going to do nothing because there's no point. I'm going to be ranking the top 10 positions in MLB, all the fielding positions and DH, based off of how difficult I believe it is to play. So 10th on my list is going to be what I believe is the easiest, and first is going to be what I believe is the most difficult or most demanding. So let's get right into it. And like I said, no pictures, because unless I just threw up random players who play multiple positions, it wouldn't really make sense. So no pictures this week. I'm sorry. 10th on our list, I have the designated hitter. I think that's kind of an obvious one. All you have to do is hit. It's almost an off day. You go up, you bat 3 or 4 times, and when you lose, you don't have to go into the field and worry about fielding, or when you strike out or something, or get out, or just have a bad plate appearance. You don't have to go back into the field and have it constantly weighing on your mind while you're trying to defend. You get to sit in the dugout until your next step back. You get to make adjustments. I think everyone would love to just be a DH if they could. It seems like the easiest one to me, and I think that would be a pretty big consensus. Number 9 in terms of difficulty, I have right field. That's because these corner outfield spots, they can kind of be interchangeable. I have a feeling that right fields tend to have less ground to cover than left fields just throughout Major League Baseball stadiums. So because of just the less ground you need to cover, you need to have less speed, kind of making you not necessarily not as good, because there's really good right fielders. Like Fernando Tatis Jr. has all the speed you could want. And he could probably play like a center or a left field for sure, but they have him in right field. So that's not to say good players don't play in right. I'm just saying there's less that's demanded of you if you were to play right, I think, in terms of the other situation, and that's mostly because I think just right fields tend to be a little smaller than left fields. But in the number 8 spot, I do have left field. Basically the same as right field. You got to catch fly balls. You got to make really good relay throws. You have to have a good arm, no question about that. But just, slightly less ground to cover. You have the center fielder to back you up, who's always your best outfielder. I mean, it's pretty routine out there in the corner outfield spots. Not to say they're not difficult to play, but in comparison, they are 8 and 9 respectively on the list. At number 7, I have first base. And this is just because mostly you're just receiving the ball. You're catching the ball at first. It's not too crazy. You do have to worry about line shots from lefties that are pulled, and you have to be quick to react on the corner. But I think just because, you don't have to be too mobile to play first base. That's why you see mostly these bigger, slower guys playing first, is because you don't need to be able to have that crazy of a range in order to be a good defensive first baseman. It's just all about you catching the ball mostly and knowing your bunt coverages and all that stuff. So that's why I have first base at 7th. And at 6th on my list, I have second base. Now, this is because it's not as difficult to play as shortstop. It's still a tough position. We're finally in the point of where I feel 2 through 3 can all kind of be, or not 2 through 3, 6 through 3 can all kind of be shuffled around and interchanged. It's tough to figure out where each one lies. But I think second base of the remaining 3 infield positions is probably the easiest. I think you might see the weakest contact go to second base of all the positions on the infield in terms of hard hit ball rate. I say the fewest probably go to second base. So I'm going to put second base at 6th. At 5th, I have center field. I only have that over the right side of the infield spots because there's just so much ground to cover in center field. It's ridiculous. Like, you have to be everywhere. You're the captain of the outfield. There's a reason why your best outfielder plays center field 9 times out of 10. Like, you have to be really good in order to lock down center field defensively. I mean, a great defensive center fielder is something you don't come by super often. I mean, Kevin Kiermaier is like just an arm and a leg above the rest all time, in my opinion. What he was able to do was great. And that was just primarily because of how he was able to defend the position. So, and this is about how hard it is to play the positions on defense. So I think because the gap between just like a good center fielder and a great center fielder is that big, and that shows like what the difficulty gap is simultaneously, I have center field at 5th. At 4th, I have third base. The hot corner is tough, man. You have a lot of these power hitting righties, they smoke the ball right down the third baseline. Like, it's called the hot corner for a reason. Stuff comes flying at you there. Like, you have to have like a reaction time like that. Like, sometimes you just literally like that. You have no time to think. 112 mile an hour line drives coming at you. You got to find a way to make a play and not surrender a hit. It's tough. It's tough to play third base. I could never do it at any level, honestly. Even when I did play the infield, I was an outfielder mostly when I did play. I had kind of played second base for a while when I was young. I was never really a good infielder. And another thing about third base is, like, you have to be dialed on bunts. I mean, most bunts are going down the third base line. So in terms of like being keyed in and knowing what to do on a bunt, and also like just the anticipation and everything you need to have at all times, you have to be really good to play third base at an elite level, and that's why I have it at 4th. At 3rd, I have shortstop. Shortstop, you are the captain of the infield. You have a lot of ground to cover over there at short. You are expected to be the best defender on the infield because, I mean, you see the plays that shortstops have to make. You have to have a really good combination of throw power and speed if you want to play short. You need to be able to get deep into the gap between the third baseman and the shortstop. If you're playing short, like, you have to be able to get to your right, dive, pick up a ball, and throw like it's second nature. If you want to be a high-end shortstop or a major league shortstop, you need to be able to have that defensive range. And because that is so hard to come by in terms of, I know most center or shortstops have that. That's how they become a major league shortstop. But in order to get to that point, it's extremely difficult. And once you're there, getting to the marquee level of those defensive shortstops is even harder. It's crazily impressive, and it's number 3 on my list. Number 2 on my list is pitcher. It's not easy to make it as a pitcher. I mean, granted, you just have to go out there and pitch, right? So you could say you have one job. It's to pitch and like maybe cover first and get pop-ups. But that just kind of overgeneralizes it. I mean, pitching is extremely important. You are in control of what the other team's offense does. Like, I don't have to dumb down pitching for you guys. You know how pitching works. You know how important it is to a game and how hard it is to do. You're involved in every single play, and then, like, I think when you're involved in every single play, that just makes it harder. You don't get time to take a break, compose yourself really between plays, because you always got to immediately be ready for the next pitch. You're throwing every single pitch. You always have to be dialed. You always have to be ready. Can't lose focus, especially if you're a starter. I could have divvied it up, like starting pitcher, relief pitcher. I didn't. I just clumped all pitchers into one in terms of pitching, and it's really tough to do. It's number 2 on the list. I don't think it's the hardest to do, though, because at number 1, I have the catcher. I think catching is harder than pitching, and I think it's the most demanding MLB position, or not just MLB, baseball position in terms of defense. I mean, you are catching every ball. You cannot let anything pass you. You have to pay attention to what the runners are doing. When a ball gets hit in play, say it's just a grounder, you're supposed to be running towards first to back up a throw. You have to be keyed in on bunts. Now add in the fact that you have to be ready to challenge calls on ABS, because most teams are relying on catchers as their primary ABS challenge makers when they're on defense. They're not really looking at the pitcher. So you add that, Like, just add all that together, what I just said. Doing all the calls. You have to call the pitches. You have to get ready for the pitches to receive them. You can't let them by. You have to defend bases. You have to pay attention to all the base runners, where they're at, what they're doing, and be prepared to throw them out when they're on. I mean, catchers mentally never really get to take a break, and just, it's also a very physical position to play. I mean, you have, like, you see how many of these catchers, catch a bat, catch a foul tip, catch a pitch that they get crossed up on, just like on the chest guard or the face mask. I mean, you get beat back there as catcher while having just a mental grind the entire game, needing to be aware of everything. Oh yeah, that's a fairly easy number one on my list for me. So running it back for you guys, those top 10 MLB positions in terms of how hard I think each one is to play. At number 10 is the DH, number 9 right field, number 8 left field, number 7 first base, number 6 second base, number 5 center field, number 4 third base, number 3 shortstop, number 2 pitcher, number 1 catcher. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. We had a starting 9 and a top 10 that I think I knocked out of the park, even though for some reason I couldn't stop tripping over my words today. I don't know what that's about. I'll get that fixed for next week. I promise you that. I hope I promise you that. If I trip over my words next week, I'll look like a big dumb. But get excited for me this upcoming week on the ETB network, Thursday morning on Hitting for the Cycle at 9 a.m. You can catch me there talking some baseball. And then me and Connor Rolland on Unnecessary Wagers. That is going to be Friday evenings, either 5 or 6 p.m. Like I said, I'll make an announcement confirming that time once I know it for sure. And that's when you're going to get to see more of me. You're going to still see the stuff on social media. You're still going to get your episode of Givin Takes every week. But now you just get even more, which, how can you not love more of me? Come on. So, yeah, that's all I got. You know to follow the socials at Givin Takes on both Instagram and TikTok, at ETB Network on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. I don't know why I had to think about that. Those are like the big 3 of social media. It's not like I'm promoting their Facebook. Yeah, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at the ETB Network, and then youtube.com/ETB Network if you want to get the long form content and full shows on YouTube, which I think you should, because I'm going to be on a lot of those. And if you like this, you are going to love that. And I'm not just saying that. Like, you genuinely are. Like, I'm really excited for this betting show that me and Connor are going to be doing. Like, you guys are really going to like that. I highly recommend you tune into that. It's going to be great. So with all that being said, I had another great week talking to you guys about sports. It's been a great time. I've been Nate Miller. Those were my takes.